Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And as you might have seen from the lucky December ticket summons that I did, we finally managed to pull EX Awakened Clayman. He's been in the game for like 6-7 months now, and I could have bought him with Seeds of Growth, but I held on to it because I was like, nah, we're going to pull him eventually, and it finally happen. So I can finally do my own showcase for him. And you know what? He's not bad. He's not, the super greatest thing in the world, but he's also not terrible. He's a pretty serviceable single target DPS dark character. So Dark Magic uses a fist. We got a lot of those laying around. He's on 10 Great Demon Lords, which is an awful, awful category. I kind of wish they would just get rid of that. He's also on Antagonist, which means that he would fit on the Emil's team, and Wielder of Magic, which means he fits on the Halloween, Shinsha, and Milim teams. So 2 orange teams. Funny, because he's a green orb changer, but he is a single target Dark Magic nuker, 490%. His first skill, guaranteed synergy for everybody on the front line, specifically, because now that's a thing, is that some people give it to the back. But he also gives himself 60% synergy power, which is pretty good for 55 points. And then his second skill changes all dark characters' orbs to greens. So if it's only him, he's only changing his orbs. If he's on a full dark team, it's a full dark, hand into greens. And then he also stacks Weakness Strike on the front line by 10%, and that is unlimited. It's a pretty hefty skill cost. But, he is a quote-unquote free character, right? Because you can only get him from tickets. You can't actually use crystals to summon for him. And generally, like Yom and Mirren and them, they're all kind of expensive as well. His Valor trait nerfs oranges, cool. And then if you have his actual trait, if you pull dupes of him, which I probably never will, he gets Protection Gauge every 2 turns, which is a really good trait. It's just that you kind of gotta pull him. And as you can tell, that's a bit of a problem for me if it took 7 months to get him. But let's test him out. Alright, first off, full Dark Magic team, green focused. So we've got the Tempered Edge versus Gazel with the first anniversary team, Milim, Isis, Shinsha, and Rimuru. And now we put Clayman, and he's going to fit perfectly fine because it's a magic-focused team. We've got a full lineup of dark characters, so no matter who is up front, we're going to be able to convert them into green orbs. And we've got magic buff, alt damage, crit, dark attack, and he's got his own synergy and weakness strike down, or weakness strike up. So this should work really, really well for him, even though it's a really, really old team. Okay, so turn 1, blue convert, and then we'll just bring Clayman in. Now, the only thing about this team is it doesn't have an alt swapper, which, you could very easily solve by not bringing one of these characters, but hey, what's the fun in that? So I think, Gazel doesn't have a lot of damage to begin with, so I don't think we need an EX alt for Clayman, but, the possibility exists, and he's going to do good damage, alright? Natural crit there. Alright, look at that hand. It's kind of ass, because we don't have someone that can convert 4 oranges normally on this dark team. Well, now we do, because we can just do this. All dark character orbs to green, 10% weakness strike, and boom, RNG gone. So as long as you build at least, a couple dark units on a team, it can go really well. So let's put a green buff on that, let's put some skill points on that, and some crit resistance down. We have 3 Clayman orbs, so these are going to get his EX, or not his EX alt, but just an alt. And then depending on how many points we get back, we could probably just nuke. We might not have Veldora fully built up, but, are we going to really be able to wait until turn 8 to do this, when he's doing 10k a hit almost? Probably not. Okay, yeah. So there's another hand where it's like, well, we could, but we couldn't. So let's just take Clayman out of here. Let's use the convert again and change those 4. Boom. And then he can just go away, I guess. So we'll bring Milim in, and we've got 1 blue orb, so that's fine. So let's take you out as well. And then let's do the 1 Milim change. Boom. Another stack of this. And now we're getting close to having Gazel or Veldora built up. Well, about halfway. About halfway. Alright, yeah, fine. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cool, 193 points. How many points do we actually need to nuke on this turn? So 55, 55, so 110 plus 40, 150 plus the 80? Alright. 55, 40, yeah, 80, 55. Okay, so we need a few more points. So, you know what? Let me just cut ahead to turn 8. We don't need to sit here and watch me stack for 4 more turns. Okay, so yeah, definitely didn't need to wait till turn 8 with how much health, and we've been sending like 1 orb for every turn for a while. But let's go ahead and buff. We don't have the EX ult, not a big deal. So ult damage plus dark attack, synergy power, attack for dark allies is what Millen is doing, and then dark attack 80% here, 50% dark resistance down, and then we'll bring Rimuru in for the guaranteed crits, and then we can use Veldora, who is maxed out, for his magic 70% magic damage buff, and then we can probably do, yeah, 1 more stack of the crit resistance down just for funzy onesies, and Clayman is going to do way too much damage here, because this is actually, decently solid support buffs for a 2-year-old team at this point. So let's just send his ult. And I know I haven't watched it before because I've never used him until now. Like, this is legitimately the first time I've ever put him in a team. You're watching this. And it's a good-looking ult. It's the same ult that he's had in-game for a while because he's been a boss in the story events. But it still looks good. And we do 1.4 million damage, which, for, again, a mostly 2-year-old team, is solid. This team didn't do 1.4 million damage when it first came out for the first Annie. It did about 500,000 damage. So, is he a good pick and fit for this team? Yeah, his entire kit synergizes very well with this. So, he's going to be good. Let's take him into a much more difficult event now. Alright, he's on Wielder of Magic, so while we have access to the limited time chamber, I don't know if it's going to go away for a couple days and then come back or not, but, let's take him into the Wielder of Magic Chamber of Memories and put him on an orange team, which traditionally, he's got green orb changes, he changes dark ally orbs, so there's only him and Ranga, so that's not going to work very well, but can he still be a reliable nuker when we can get Pierce and Element and, Pierce power and now his synergy and his weakness resistance down? Probably we can make use of it, as long as we don't get nerfed on synergy by the Shizu. She does nerf greens, though, which is kind of unfortunate, but that's not the point of this team we're running. It's just now a skill. But yeah, no synergy resistance, so he's going to be pretty good, and he can give it to everybody. It's not just a dark ally only. It is all synergy, and then his own synergy power. So we'll try and make him the nuking character instead of Shinsha, even though she has type advantage. Okay, so I was kind of hoping that turn 1 we could use the greens, but looks like that's not the case. So let's just do the Ranga convert, boom, and then we'll take him out for Clayman, and then we'll bring Shinsha in for Shizu, yeah. Alright, and then we'll send this. Let's see how much damage he does compared to the other characters here. He's going to do less than Shinsha, obviously, because he doesn't have true type advantage. But let's see, 11... 7,000, so yeah, not as much as our water Wielder of Magic characters. Not a huge deal, though. 2 orbs for him, also not something I'm really wanting to see. Alright, we got a Hinata ult, that's cool, I guess. We don't have an ult swapper on this team. We have an ult rusher on this team, though. I think, yeah, we just send this. I don't know, since we don't have the big 3, that's the whole thing I hate about Chamber of Memories, is that we can't use support character slots to our true advantage. Alright, okay, that'll work. We can do something with that. So, we can take, well, can we? We don't have enough points for that. Let's just do this. And then we'll just send Shinsha's ult and we'll orb change again. And then we'll just, yeah, we'll send this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Gets him close. We might actually be able to ult rush him with Shizu next turn. And that'll cover that last little remaining bit of ult gauge, hopefully. She gives 30% to magic allies, I think. Alright, guarding that hit. Alright, ouch, that kind of hurt. Body and Spirit Seal, I don't think is a super big deal, but let's use the skill point and the Pierce Power. Boom. Boom. Okay, we have another orange incoming, which is great, which means we don't have to fuck with our continuity of orbs. Let's take Ranga out of here. Let's use Milim to convert those orbs to oranges. And then we will use the Alt Rush, and that should cover the rest of that. Yeah, perfect. That'll cover that. So now we just need to get 55, 40, 25 points. So 70, 80, 120 points is what we need out of this. So let's send you away now that you have the Pierce buff and everything, and we have a full hand of oranges here with the protection gauge increase. This will do some decent damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 103, which means with another Milim we have 140, which means we have enough to nuke on turn 5, as long as nobody dies here. Please, nobody die here. Alright. Doing her best to try and take out Shinsha. But let's take out Shizu. We already have the ult resistance down, so that's fine. Boom. And then we can go ahead and nuke here. So we've got the EX ult damage, the synergy and synergy power buff. So boom. That affects him only. And then we'll use Milim to change all these orbs to oranges and give us the 40 skill points. And that will now allow us to use Hinata's element buff. And this should work. How much health does she have? 1.4 million? Okay, well, should be in the keyword, right? Hinata, do you have an effect or are you just damage? You're just damage, okay. So let's send Clayman first just to get a feel for how much damage we're doing with him. And then, if we get lucky, we can kill. Clayman. Sure, we'll watch it again. So he's got Pierce Power, he's got EX ult damage 50%, 50% element, 30% Pierce Power, 50%, 60% synergy power? No weakness resistance down, though. 595. That's actually a lot less than I was hoping for, actually. But he does not have true type advantage, which would have given him another 30%. Of which that still wouldn't have one-shot. But maybe we have enough power here to still kill. So maybe he contributes, a lot of damage. 97,000. That's not great. Okay, Shinsha, I'm just going to skip you. 283. Okay, not enough damage, unfortunately. We need a little bit more power. Probably an EX ult for Shinsha is what we'd be looking for. Do we have access to another Milim? We don't. Okay, well, let's try and shoot for a Shinsha EX ult as well. Okay, we got it figured out. So we took out Shizu, because, her skills aren't super great. They're very old. And we've replaced her with Exalted Champion Rimuru and turn 2 protection gauge from Frieren. So this will work a lot better, because now we have an ult swapper on a burst team, giving us rainbow orbs, which will help us get a lot of protection gauge, skill points, ult gauge for everything. So this will run a lot smoother. So still turn 1, we're going to orb change with Ranga, but since now we know that we need an EX ult with Shinsha, we're not going to bring Clayman up front, we're just going to bring Shinsha up front. And now we have a whole bunch of turn 2 protection gauge characters, and we'll send Shinsha last, because she's going to do the most damage. Well, not that far off from Hinata, actually, but dupes are a thing. Okay. And now we just need some... Yeah, sure. We need some RNG here. We're going to get a Hinata ult because of her trait, and then for here, instead of getting Shinsha's ult now, let's actually bring in Clayman for Shinsha, and we can send the ult and then 4 Shinsha orbs of varying degrees of usefulness. And we'll use the future hand of oranges so that next turn we can get a solid hand, depending on how the orbs want to play out. We know that we have 1 incoming Clayman orb, so that's cool. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Doesn't quite get us Milim, but not a huge deal, as long as we can continue to get orbs for Clayman and Shinsha next turn. We could be fairly solid. Or we could do that. Well, I mean, we can bring in Shinsha for Rimuru. And let's turn off the animations, because that's getting annoying. So let's... There's nothing we really can do. Like, I don't want to use any other skills right now. We need Milim. So yeah, let's just bring in Shinsha for Rimuru. That way we get her EX ult, probably, or very close to. Okay, we get it. And we also get Clayman's ult. And we have another orb incoming for Clayman as well. So next turn we can just ult swap with Rimuru. And we still need to nuke on turn 5. And we're still in line for that, as long as we can get some good orbs. And, okay, perfect. We got 2 Clayman orbs. Shinsha already has her EX ult, so she's good. And we have 72 plus the 40 from Milim. So let's take out Hinata for Ranga. Let's use his Pierce Power buff because it lasts for 2 turns. And we'll use the orange damage buff and the protection gauge increase from oranges. And then we can bring Rimuru in, and we can alt swap those 2 away, and then use Milim to give us a full hand. So this and these 3 Clayman orbs will get his EX ult. So we're looking real good now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Alright, we got 137 points plus another 40. We've got 2 EX ults now, which is what we were looking for. And we should have enough points to full buff. Reamer does cost a bit more than Shizu now. And we no longer have any ult resistance down, but now Clayman will have an attack buff. So 70% attack. Do we want to use that now? We can bring like Hinata in or something, because she's going to have a few orbs once we swap Rimuru out. Yeah, we'll swap him away, because we need her element buff. Okay, so we got 2 Hinatas and 2 Claymans. So synergy and synergy power for him, and then the element buff we'll use after we use Milim to give us the 40 skill points. And now we're ready. Now we should be good. Is Hinata going to do more with Type Edge, or is Clayman? Probably Clayman. We'll send him first anyways. 70k, 20... Oh, Jesus, okay. I mean, synergy power and the attack buff will do that for you, huh? Alright, Clayman now does with an attack buff 725, and Shinsha does 565, much less. But she also doesn't have that personal synergy power buff. So there we go. Clayman works as a decent support and DPS character for Wielder of Magic. Cool. Alright, last off, I mean, we don't have the Antagonist beatdown battle. We're just going to go into Tempered Edge Clayman because it's an orange stage. And we'll put him on the Antagonist team. So we've got Shinsha, Awakened Isis, Kyokyo. We need Benimaru for the burn and the orb turn 1 orb change. So otherwise I would probably bring like Exalted Champion Rimuru. But hey, you got to play around the stage, and we also need to swap you out into the other big 3 character, because we're not looking to use Shinsha's Convert turn 1. Who do we need here? Dark Milim. Yeah, okay, so yeah. We'll do this, and we'll see how much damage he can do, at least type neutral, but we have the ult buff because Shinsha hits both dark and light characters, so Clayman will benefit off of that, and then all the buffs that we're getting from here. The weakness strike from Kyokyo, not going to be a factor because we're type neutral, but it still should be fine. Okay, turn 1, orb change. If we bring characters in, they get a crit nerf, but we are not running a crit-focused team anymore. So, well, we weren't to begin with, but regardless, the whole point of it is, hey, yeah, we can bring you in and we can get some extra protection gauge on turn 2, and we can get our units, started for their alt gauge. And then next turn we can get some rainbows and some oranges, and maybe we get lucky and get some Clayman orbs, like a lot of them. Clayman on Clayman action right here. Oh boy! All right, look at that. Okay, so we're good. How many points do we need? So 55, 50, 50. So 100. 205, 235 points is what we need, unless we start storing some things, which we certainly will, because we don't need to nuke turn 2 or turn 3. So, full hand of oranges plus some rainbows, that's excellent. Let's bring in Kyokyo, because we can store his buff and Clayman's buff next turn, because we can't store the alt buff, but we can store the synergy and we can store the magic buff from Kyokyo. Normally I'd bring Violet, but she's kind of expensive. So, alright, yep, thank you for that. A lot of Kyokyo orbs now. Fine, not a big deal. And now let's store some stuff away, and then maybe turn 4 we can nuke. So synergy, and then the magic attack 40% buff. Boom, boom. And then we'll bring Benimaru back in. And then next turn we just need to use the Shinsha buff, and then the 2 Isis buffs. So that's only 130 points, and we're definitely going to make that back this turn off of this hand. And Kyokyo already has, or not Kyokyo, but Clayman already has the Pierce rate, so we're good. Turn 4. We got really lucky on those orbs. This is the first time that we've tried this team, and I'm pretty sure that we're going to murderize him with no questions asked. So, let's have some fun. Let's bring you in for Benimaru, and then we will use the Shinsha buff, and then we'll take you out for Isis, and we have plenty of points here to go around. So debuff and buff. What does this do? Orange damage? Yeah, sure, why not? We don't need to use the green orb. Could we have done that? No, we don't have. We only have 1 dark character here. No, we have 2. Oh, well, we still need the burn. We still need the burn to get around his stupid poison and bind, so we couldn't do that. Okay, fine, whatever. Alright, let's see how much 1 orb does for him, and then we'll send everything else. And this will probably be the end of the video, because he's going to kill. 28k on a guard. 1.3 million on the alt. Type neutral. With no weakness strike, because we're type neutral. I mean, he works. He works pretty good. Yeah, Clayman's a solid option. Like, he's not throwing up hundreds of millions of damage numbers. He's not giving the most amount of support, because he's only giving guaranteed synergy, and then if you use it, a little bit of weakness strike. So it's not... I wouldn't call him a super viable all-team generic support, but if you want to make him a nuker or a sub-nuking character, then he could buff himself up, and he can give a little bit of extra damage support to teams that he fits on. And he certainly fits on some other teams as well, not just these 2. He's just, you know, the ones that he's actually on. But I think it's pretty good. And especially with dupes, he's going to have protection gauge, which is turn 2 protection gauge is probably one of the best traits in the game besides just the big 3. So I think he's a solid option. So if you have him and you need a dark DPS character, he'll fit the bill. The only time you're going to really have problems if he can't use synergy in a stage or something. That's the only thing. But, you know, let me know what you guys think of this Awakened Clayman now that I can finally show him off. Maybe you've had him for months and you were waiting for a good team to put him on. Hopefully this helps you out. But that's it from me. Take it easy, and I'll see you all later.